Hey, Flaming Chicken here. Welcome back to our show of Is It Worth It? Where we talk about is it worth getting a specific type of Pokemon card? This example, Meganium, PSA rated. Granted, you'll notice that a lot of the times we do these videos, a lot of my cards currently are Japanese cards. I have other cards that aren't Japanese cards, but um, yeah, so right now, a lot of mine are Japanese cards, which you need to take into account with also this series, is it worth it? And I'll also talk about that. Now, the good news is here, I have already actually purchased one that's PSA rated. In fact, I've purchased one that's PSA 10 with premium files. So even, they suggest, should be considered even higher than just a standard PSA 10. Also, if you're new to the video, if you want a chance to win free Pokemon cards, if we hit 50 subs, we're giving away one of these cards here. Yes, I'm aware the Moltres is heavily damaged. That's why it's a giveaway. This card, when it's in perfect condition, goes for 100. If you're super lucky, $200. Yes, even the Japanese one. So if we hit 50 subs, we'll give one of these cards away. You just gotta put your vote in the comments below. Also, if you want to have the chance to win, you have to be publicly subscribed. Otherwise, I can't see who you are, and I can't pick you as a winner. If you saw last video of how we did the giveaway, we just put the names of the people into a non-see-through container, and then we pulled out one lucky winner. Last winner was Code. The winner before him was Vintage Pokemon Hunter Brothers, twice in a row, by the way. So I'm not against someone winning more than once in a row. So if you're super lucky, you can win multiple times for the multiple times we do giveaways. If we get between 50 to 100 subs, I'll also add this coin with the card we're giving away. And if we hit 100 subs, I'll give 2 cards away. And we'll decide later if that's 2 cards to one person or 1 card to 2 different people. Probably do the latter of that too. So now, the basis of the series, is it worth it? Talking about Meganium, specifically the versions I have of them. If you're new, I've explained that I purposely have this PSA 8 card as one of my reference cards for whether or not to send it to PSA. So PSA is reopened. This is during COVID. The current date is May 9th, 2020. So the prices can fluctuate, but to be honest, prices will rarely fluctuate with cards that have already been out for a long time, such as these. They've been out since 1999 and 2000. They're the same thing. They're Neo Genesis, but this one's from 2000. This one's from 1999. That's the only difference. To me, as long as you have a way to reference the card, like with a Japanese translation book, as they make it for Pokemon, still a playable card. But yeah, people just, of course, prefer the English card in America. But there's no rules against playing a Japanese card, especially as long as you have the translation book. So, still 100% playable cards, still the exact same artwork, and then, really, Pokemon comes from Japan, so to me, in my opinion, it's more the originals in a sense. But without further ado, back to the cards and rating them if it's worth it. So, Neo Genesis 1999, as is, if you don't rate it, if you just try and sell it as near mint to mint, without it being PSA rated, they go for about $4, the Japanese version. If you PSA rate it and you get a 9, they go for about $16. Now here's the kicker though. If you get it rated and it reaches PSA 10, it goes for about $50 to $60. $60 launch sale, $50 quick sale. What do I mean by that? If you list it for $50, it should sell super quickly within a week. If you list it for $60, it's going to sit and people will probably send you some offers and you have to decide what you want to take as an offer. Now remember, keep in consideration. Okay, so if this card's worth $4 as is, keep in consideration the amount of time it takes to get something PSA rated. It's a fairly long process. The cost in shipping it there and the cost in getting the card rated. So you're looking at probably $12 total when you do a bulk thing of shipment to get your card rated. So you're paying an extra $12 to get it rated versus also what you already paid for or if you already had the card. If you get PSA 9, I mean, as long as you only paid 12 cards in total with shipping and rating, you break even. With it being 9, it should sell faster versus it not being rated at all. If you get 10, it's worth 50 to 60 bucks. So luckily for me, I actually already have a perfect reference card for this to see if it's 10s. So if if you happen to have the exact same card, PSA 10, and this is premium file, so if they're equal to that, then premium file. So they're even considered higher than PSA 10 by PSA. So these are 100% worth it if you hit that. Now, the English versions do sell for more, but that's all depending on really, as I said, the Japanese cards should be worth the same. It's crazy to me that they're not. And then we have this version here. So this is the versions of Meganium. I'm sorry. He came out when I was getting out of Pokemon, and by the time he got to this evolution, I don't remember his name from the show, and I'm just going off the text of it. So putting the list forward. So these are the 1999 versions, $4 if it's unrated as is. Hollow PSA 9 only goes up to 16 bucks. PSA 10 it skyrockets. That's typical of PSA 10. PSA 10 everything seems to it typically skyrockets. So the 2000 version, unrated as is, actually asking price, and this isn't what you're going to get necessarily, but asking price is 30 bucks. So it's kind of interesting that the newer card, technically by 1 year, is worth more than the older card. But of course, it all comes down to how much the series was, how many runs it had. Because E-Series Pokemon cards, even though they're much newer than base set, sometimes go for more than base set cards because the run wasn't that long. So, as is, this one goes for about 30 bucks. Now, I, as I said, I really wish it wasn't this way, but it is. PSA 8 English, they asked for about 100 bucks. PSA 9 Japanese, you can expect about 30. To me, in my opinion, so right off the bat, well, opinion and factual, because 9 and 10s are so close in rating, definitely not worth it if it's already going to sell for 30 or it's being asked for 30, as is without it being rated. Now, if you hit PSA 10, it goes up 50, 60 bucks, which is a drastic jump, about an extra $20 to $30. So this one, since it already goes for 30 bucks, isn't worth getting PSA rated. Now, if it was English, 100% all the way. PSA 8, in my opinion, isn't that hard to hit. This is a PSA 8. There is no really any whiting or dents on the edges or anything in the main part of the card. The reason why this one reaches PSA 8 or why it's limited to PSA 8, and you really can't see it on the camera, but in person there is some micro scratches on the hollow foil, and that's why this card is PSA 8. So it's just taking a close look at your cards, putting them under like your iPhone light or your normal phone light, whatever you want to call your phone, whatever brand you have. But that white light, it will really show the scratches, dings, and any imperfections in the card. So that will help you figure out with your reference card, your 10 card and your 8 card, and any card you have in between that you may already have rated, which I strongly suggest. If you're getting into buying and selling Pokemon cards, I suggest you just try and get the cheapest PSA 8 hollow. You really want it to be hollow, because hollow's harder to rate, so you want that because it's easier to rate your non-hollows, and then it also is a good reference card for your hollow cards. Get a PSA 8, so that way you know that if it looks better than this card, then it should reach 9 to 10. If it looks the same as this card, it should reach 8. Granted, PSA rating is subjectified to whoever your PSA rater is. That's just how it is. They should be pretty similar though, but some people could see an 8 as a 7, so you got to be careful with that. You definitely want to send your cards if you know it's going to at least get an 8. If it also breaks the price point, so these at 8s don't break the price point unless it was English. This one, English, breaks the price point. That would be 100% worth it if it was English. And then, of course, to add on too, if you have first edition cards. For this version, there's no Shadowless version of this card, but first edition of this guy, in the 9s and 10s first edition, they are asking between $500 and $1,000, and that's asking price isn't always what you go off of, but when you see that as the continuous thing for the asking price, that's generally the price it's going for, or expect a counter offer at least. But the counter offer should be close to that. So these were in English, 100% worth it. I'm going to take a close look off camera to make sure that these are all 10s. I don't have a 10 reference card for this one, or the exact card. I have a 10 and an 8 card for reference, but because it cuts so close and it's already being asked for a certain amount, I'm probably going to sell this card as is, while these cards as is aren't really worth that much. But if I get them rated and they come back as 10s and I have the perfect card to rate them with, actually, it's 100% worth it. Granted, even if the actual price worth is 50 to 60 bucks, still expect you have to wait to convince someone to pay 50 to 60 bucks for one card. There's plenty of people who do it. There's plenty of people in the world. There's plenty of people with money. This is a hard collectible item. Not specifically this Pokemon card, but all Pokemon cards. And this one is a fairly high collectible item because it's one of the 3 starters from the one generation of Pokemon where you had Typhlosion, Feraligatr, and Meganium. Now, these aren't the starters. These are the max evolutions of the starters, not to include any Mega Evolutions, but these are part of the starters, so these go for, they actually do sell at a decent pace compared to other Pokemon cards. Now, once again, as I like to mention at the beginning, I like to mention at the end, if you're new to this series or if you're at the end of this video, make sure you like and subscribe and share this video. Why share? Because the more you share it, the more likely we'll get more subscribers. We're not doing a giveaway of one of these cards until we hit 50 subscribers. And then also drop a comment below on which card you think we should give as a giveaway. So yes, it is heavily damaged, but your vote decides whether you want this flaming chicken or not. So yeah, these are the cards. The rest of them are in good condition besides this one too. He's a little beat up. But if we hit between 50 and 100, we'll also include this coin to the same lucky winner. If we hit 100, yeah, I think I'm going to go with, if we hit 100, we'll give away 2 cards, but it will be the 2 separate individuals. So you won't be able to win twice in the same run on that, but when we do another giveaway, if you win again, you win again. Just ask Vintage Pokemon Brothers, who's also got a YouTube series, and he's a lot better at this than I am, and he's willing to show his face, so you should check him out. And he does things with his wife, which is great. It's wonderful to see. And he's actually, I guess his wife and him also know how to read Japanese a little bit, or at least his wife does. But yeah, he's really into cards, and he's got some cool collections too. But yeah, so make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. And when we hit 50 subs, we'll give one of those cards away. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This was our series on Is It Worth It?